Ladies and gentlemen, let's get ready to rumble!
Y'all ready for this?
Jocks fans, we got a treat this week. I'm sure most of you have seen the iconic, my favorite hockey movie of all time, Slapshot. We are welcomed by former Charlestown Chiefs goaltender Denis Lemieux. Denis, welcome.
My pleasure to be there.
So, Denis, since your days with the Chiefs, what have you been up to?
Sorry, I did not understood you. Can you it again?
Yes, since you've retired from playing
Yeah.
for the Chiefs, what have you been up to?
I've been up to a lot of things. I'm also a co-owner of Little Mill, Theater Mill, and I still do acting, movies, theater. I never quit. Yeah, when they got me for Slapshot, I had been at the National Theatre School in Montreal, and Newman was already an idol for me. I was so lucky to been able to work with him. That was great. We spent 13 weeks in downtown 45 years ago, and we're still there.
So, so do you think that you could solve the Ottawa Senators goaltending issue now with Anton Forsberg being out with that freak double knee injury?
Oh, that was something, unexpected. We were on the ice the last Saturday before we were going to start shooting on Monday. And we were all on the ice. But let me tell you something first. I am the only goalie who made it to the Hockey Hall of Fame. We never had any goals against him. I was an actor, not a goalie.
Yeah.
But I was going to do my own stunts. I was ready for it. But because of that injury, it was impossible for me to do it because I was doubled by Ron Dawkin, who was the Jets' #1 goalie. And he was portraying the spare goalie in the movie.
Yeah.
So because I had to be on crutches for at least a week and a half, they put it in the goal, and he was lefty. So it was impossible to get back in the goal. I'm right-handed, And Universal were a little afraid that I might been injured one more time. They hired me to be Denis Lemieux, which is a sort of funny guy.
Well, no kidding. I feel like of all the lines in the movies, other than Steve Carlson saying, "I'm listening to the fucking song," I feel like you have all the one-liners. You have all the memorable quotes.
Oh yeah, I was lucky. That was a fantastic part to do. I had lines unforgettable, like when I am in the bar with Paul Newman, and one player comes in and he said, "I think he's a fag." I said, "Are you crazy? He has a big cock like a whore." I was speaking a bad English, which made lines pretty funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was, yeah, George Royal was telling me, Yvonne, be careful. You speak too well.
Was there some times where you just you had a line but you just said something random because you thought it'd be funnier?
Sorry,
Uh,
I,
so
I,
when they gave you your lines for the movie, but was
I
there time was there
had the script for a few months before the movie was done.
okay.
Yeah, yeah. So and it was a serious movie with funny lines.
Yeah.
So I think probably one of the most iconic scenes of the movie is the opening scene where you're doing your TV interview and you're demonstrating the slashing and the hooking and the tripping and the spearing.
You know what? We did that scene in one take.
Well, I'm sure I
That's
wouldn't want to be
great.
the TV,
Yeah.
the TV, the host.
My partner, who died lately a few weeks ago.
I'm sorry for your loss.
Yeah, uh, he became nervous when we start shooting, and when we did rehearse the scene, his leg remained low, close to the floor. But as soon as we start shooting, his leg came up, and I really hit it with my stick, and his face changed completely.
That's awesome.
So we went through the scene, and that was the one. Nothing more to add.
You know what? There's not many actors that can say they shoot a scene in one take.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they called me one take Barrett.
That's awesome.
Uh, I
So,
was when George Royal and Mike Fenton. Mike Fenton was the guy who did the casting. He was the cast. He did the casting of One Flew Over a Cuckoo's Nest.
okay.
Okay.
So when they were looking for a character, they had to find the good guy. And they were in Montreal. They were looking for a French Canadian to portrait the goalie. So they came in Montreal and they auditioned maybe 300 people before calling me. A friend of mine, an actor, Donald Pilon, was leading them through the French artistic colony. And after a week, they were staying at the Ritz-Carlton in Montreal, and they were unhappy with the people they met. And Donald, at the end of the week, came out of the hotel and he says, Yvonne, I have to introduce them to Yvonne. So he brought them to the movie company. We had done a few movies together. La vraie nature de Bernadette with Gilles Carle and Les Corps Célestes. And as soon as they saw me, maybe 10 minutes of his movies, they said, yes, we want to see him today. But I live in Gaspésie,
Oh my
east of
god.
Quebec, close to Rimouski.
Yeah.
So, and I was already doing some work with a friend of mine, and they phoned home, and my wife was there, and I came by the house, and she said, "Come in. Somebody called you from Union des Artistes, asking you if you were interested to do a movie with Paul Newman." So I called the girl, and she told me that. I said, "Sure, but not more than that." And my friend Donald Pilon phoned me something like 15 minutes after that, and he said, Yvonne's that's very serious. Your plane ticket is at Montjoli Airport. You have to be at the Ritz-Carlton today at 6 o'clock. And so I took my plane at 3. I made it to the Ritz-Carlton at 5 minutes before 6 and called Mr. Fenton at his room. And he said, "How did you make it?" I said, "I'm here. We're good." So he brought me to a brasserie to have dinner. He thought I was angry, but I did not knew yet what was all that movie about. Was it a western? Was it what was it like? And during the dinner, he told me the story. He said, "Well, the movie starts on you," and he told me the whole story. And after that, we went back to his room. I read the script from one page to the other all through, and I auditioned around midnight, and he was giving me the lines. I did the opening scene. And after we've been through the pages, he started improvising, and I had already a good idea of who was Denis Lemieux. So I made it in one day. So I was the one, and we're still there after 45 years. That's unbelievable.
Oh, it's
Yeah,
crazy.
it's awesome.
That's a fantastic story for me. It's at first when the movie was released in Montreal, the premiere, we were in the theater hall waiting for people. There was a show at 5:30. The premiere was at 7:30, and we were all in the hall. Alan Nichols, Lindsay Krause wrote the script, and Yvan Ponton. We were a bunch of French Canadian actors and hockey players. And the first reaction I had was from an Irishman, maybe 70 years old, fan of Montreal Canadiens. And he came back of the theater, walked straight to me, and he said, "You're a disgrace for hockey." That was the first reaction I had. So at first it was not very well. The reception from hockey players, professional hockey players, was not very good because of the language. I think so.
Well, I thought it was hilarious.
Yeah,
and it was great.
It's a movie I still watch to this day. Like I
But
watched it
a
hundreds
few
of times as
years.
a kid.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And you know what? As we were talking, I just pulled up my phone and I just ordered a Denis Lemieux jersey.
Good. Just send it to me and I will sign it for you.
Perfect.
Look at that.
Look at that. I have your number. You can text me your address. I will send that jersey as soon as it comes in. That is wonderful. And that's going to hang up right here.
Hang it right there.
We're going to switch out Joe Drouin for Denis Lemieux.
Yeah.
Anyway, I was 30 years old. I'm 76 now.
Like
a fine wine.
Yeah, aged like a fine wine.
And we and I used to work with Kerry Goulet, who started two foundations: Shoot for a Cure to raise money for spinal injury, and Stop Concussion to teach people about the danger of concussions. We did 4 tours in Germany, 2 tours in Australia, and in Australia was with 2 Canadian professional hockey players, Darryl Sittler and Tiger Williams.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, that was a fantastic tour. But they were not known as well as Denis Lemieux in Australia. That was funny. As soon as I entered the arena with my jersey on and Denis Lemieux in the back, everybody knows the lines. That's crazy.
Well, everybody knows that Chiefs logo. I mean, I have all 3 Hansen jerseys upstairs.
Yeah.
And now I have a Denis Lemieux one on the way.
Yes, it will be there.
So, just can you do us one last thing before we sign off, Yvon? trade deadline's coming up. Can you give us your iconic line?
I think the iconic line is trade me right fucking now.
Yes. Ladies and gentlemen, the
Unbelievable.
ever talented
Yeah.
Yvon Barrette.
Yeah.
Yvon, thank you for coming on. I definitely want to have you back on. The stories you have, phenomenal.
Yes.
So, folks, this is just a little taste of
What could come next?
What can come next? I never in my life would have thought I'd be having a conversation with Denis fucking Lemire.
Yeah.
And
Very
here
nice.
we are.
Very nice to have this interview with you. I will send you my address on Messenger.
Yeah.
Yes, and I also have photos, so I can send you a few photos and give me your names, and I will send a few photos to each of you, and I'll sign your jersey.
Hey,
Awesome.
this guy's the man.
Yes.
I mean, and just for the record, we started talking today. I found him, and I just messaged him, and within 10 minutes, he had answered me, and like, let's go.
Yeah, perfect.
This guy's amazing.
Man of the people. Man of the people.
Yeah.
No time to lose.
That's right. That's right.
Well,
Life,
thank you.
I can tell you, I'm 76 now. Time goes fast.
It does go fast,
Yeah.
but immortal as ever. I mean, I won't forget this. This is, like I said, a movie I grew up with.
Yep.
And I'm definitely going to show my kids. I mean, you're going to show Bubs for sure.
Yeah.
But just Cloud9. I mean, I didn't think when I went into work on a Monday that I'd be talking to you tonight. So what a great day. Thank you so much, and we will definitely be in touch.
Absolutely.
All right.
Thank you.
Nice way. Great average Jocks fans. This week we welcome RDS legend Luc Gelinas. Luc, welcome to the show.
Hey, cool down on the legend, please.
I mean, and I said this to James Duthie when we had him on the show, and in Simon Sleekus and Sean Starr. It's I was never an athlete by any means. I was an average jock.
Yeah.
And you guys were the ones, I looked up to, because I knew I was never playing in the NHL. I was never going anywhere other than house league and men's league. So I'm like, well, if I'm going to get anywhere close to anywhere in sports, these are the guys I need to model. So
I was the same as you when I was young. I grew up in a little village called Saint-Boniface, just beside Shawinigan. And I remember perfectly my bus driver, Michel Lemay. He was a season ticket holder for Les Cataract de Shawinigan. And he was my hero. And at that time, I thought to myself, if at one point of my life I can have season tickets for the Cataract, I'll be someone, So that was my dream, my ultimate dream, because I played hockey all my life. But every year I had the most improved player, so because it was really bad,
You know what? I was we're still unpacking some boxes in my house, and I came across a few of those medals there.
The SO medals,
most improved or most dedicated, which says you tried your fucking best. So welcome to the show, Luc. Pleasure to have you on. I mean, Adam and I are both diehard Habs fans, and I mean, I remember, as a kid, the only time you wanted to watch a Habs game was on RDS,
Channel 41.
Dad would let me have a sip of his beer, and we're watching a Misham Malzi Moltenek.
I forgot about Misham Malzi. Oh my god, that's a throw.
Thanks for having me on your show. And first of all, I would like to apologize for my English. I know I have a strange accent and I make mistakes. I don't feel that bad when I ask questions at the bench for 1-2 questions and then I translate. But for maybe 1 hour, I'm gonna make a lot of mistakes. So Please
you
forgive
know
me.
what, Luke? Don't apologize at all. English is our first language, and we mess up all the time.
Yeah.
There's sometimes I'm sitting here and I'm like, I don't even know what I start a sentence. I have no idea where it's going. So don't worry about that. And I mean, we had Denis Lemieux on, so I'm pretty sure the whole theme this week is French Canadian. So it's all good. I mean, most of our topics today will probably stick with the Habs. Just, I mean, that's your expertise. You travel with the team, you follow them all year. So it'll be right in your wheelhouse. And, don't be shy to use a little franglais.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, all right, good.
We both understand French, so if you forget a word in English, just fire it off in French.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, I'll try. Yeah,
I always try and let you take
I'll
the
do
lead.
my best.
All right.
Yeah. Well, we know that you've been with the Habs for many years. We've seen like Joel said, we're both diehard Habs fans, so we've seen some teams where we barely games were iffy here and there, and teams or even names of guys we had never heard of. Like, what was your favorite team to follow? Like, what year was your favorite team to follow?
Oh, that's a great question. I have to admit that my first year was 92-93, and they won the cup that year.
That just answers the question.
So it was amazing. And for me personally, back at that time, half of the team was French Canadian. So it was really easy for me to get some information because the players, they know me. And they won the cup that year. So it was unbelievable. But this year, it's quite fun too, because there's a big difference with the former management and this management. It's like more inclusive for everybody. All the spirit, the mood is different. It's really cool. It's really cool this year. And the reason why it's not only the management, all the players are not on the good chair. All the guys are happy. All the guys, they have a bigger role than they are supposed to have. Like, it's fun to have Jacky and Harris and Barron, but those guys are supposed to be in the American Hockey League.
Yeah.
But they are playing in the NHL, so they are happy. The spirit is great. So this year, it's honestly, even if they're not winning quite often, and Martin Saint Louis has something to do with that. The last couple of years were not lucky. I mean, Michel Therrien, Jacques Martin, Claude Julien, they were really, really boring in press conference. And when we had the chance to talk with them, one-on-one, no mics, they were really interesting. But on the podium, it was a real disaster. And Martin Saint Louis is so good. He explains stuff. So that's fun. This year, it's for all of us, it's really, our job is fun. It's really, really good. So you have to say 93 and this year. In between, we had some pretty tough years too.
That's an understatement.
Yeah. My basement here is a bit of a Habs shrine, and as you say, tough years, I can look around and I can point out a few.
Yeah.
Just looking at some of the players and just remembering some of the games I've had to watch. And yikes!
I mean, there was a few good players during those years.
Oh, yeah, of course. Yeah.
Like some fan favorites, big time, like for fan.
11 goal Scott Gomez.
Yeah,
up there. That's
Scott Gomez. Well, he's a great guy.
Yeah.
He
Just
should have
too
never
bad.
changed. He should have never changed to 11. He should have stayed
Maybe
in
that's a number. Yeah.
When he switched to 11, I thought that his game changed. I know it sounds stupid, but in my opinion, when he changed to 11, his game changed.
So if you are that superstitious, I'm sure you're happy now they are not going to play anymore with the blue jersey.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, they finished strong. At least they got to win, Luke. They got to win.
You know what? I'm happy it's gone. There's a few retro jerseys. You want to bring back like the
red with the green leaf?
Yeah, the red with the green leaf. I don't mind the barber pole. The blue one with the white C.
Barber pole, but the blue one is good for the fans.
Yeah, the fans loved it.
It's unbelievable the number of blue jerseys in the stands. So that marketing wise, that's a big success.
And
Yeah,
they
it didn't translate to on the ice though.
No,
yeah.
you're right.
They used Steel Panther to announce the jerseys.
Yeah,
which
that's
was pretty funny.
that mascot that came with the
Metal.
Yeah, that can
Oh.
that can take a hike.
Yeah, they could take a hike with the jerseys. Yeah.
The mascots, nothing compared to the jersey. Wow, what a bad
Ça fait
idea.
dur.
Ça fait dur, oh yes, bien dur.
That's good.
So you said there's a you can sense a change in management in the way that things either happen in the dressing room or around the team. Did you see that change as soon as Jeff Gorton arrived? Or is this like a three-headed monster of Gorton Hughes in the same week?
I have to say more when Kent Hughes arrived.
Okay.
And I remember governors or GM's meeting last year, like almost a year ago. We're in Boca Raton, Florida, and my
yes.
colleague Eric Leblanc from RDS.ca asked him a question at that time. And honestly, that's a strange question. And I was like, where is he going with that question? He asked him, at the end, when you're going to leave that job, what do you want people to remember about what you did with the Montreal Canadiens? And I thought to myself, Jesus Christ, he's here for 2 months. Give him a chance. And the answer was, I want the people to remember that I was able to build, of course, a winning team, but mainly that we built a family where everybody is involved. The former players, the players, the family, the friends. It's something that has to work together. So if the players are happy, the family, the wife, the kids, the friends, the former players, then we are a team with a good atmosphere, a good environment. So that's what I want to build. And I thought, wow, okay, that told me a lot about him, and we can see that now around the team. It's just the alumni. They're back around the team. That's a big improvement, and it's like there's no stress anymore. And it's not only Kent Hughes and the way he see things. I guess I have to be honest, because it's easy to say it's all Marc Bergevin. Carey Price was not someone easy to deal with in the dressing room because they didn't like to do that part of his job, dealing with the media, and I respect that. Same thing with Shea Weber. So now they're gone. I feel it's more relaxed for us, not for the players. I mean, about me and my colleagues, I feel it's easier to get in the dressing room and feel welcome and happy. And Weber and Price, they were nice with us. They no problem at all. But that's a part of their job that they never like doing interview.
Yeah.
So maybe it's one of the reasons too. But this year it's really cool, really fun. A lot of fun.
I like that you brought that up because even before Shea, like Max Pacioretty didn't seem like a very big people person either.
Yeah.
And before him, Brian Giunta was quiet. Andrei Markov was quiet. Like, was it refreshing to have a player like PK Subban that seemed to love the camera and have somebody that wasn't like, oh, fuck, I got to do my mandatory, whatever it is, 2 times a week, talk to, be available.
But with Pacioretty and Giunta, we felt welcome in the dressing room. And it was not exactly like that with Weber and Price, but they were always polite, and especially when we turn off the camera and stuff like that, they were like more normal, if I can say. But that's a part of their job. Like I said before, was the same thing with Claude Julien, Michel Therrien, Jacques Martin. When cameras are recording, they're different, and it was the same with those 2 stars. But yes, going back to your question, PK was refreshing. PK, every morning it was quiet. We had no stories. We asked for PK and he was talking, blah, blah, blah. And sometimes, to be honestly, after I listened to a 20 minutes interview, really often there are nothing published, nothing really interesting, but he was there talking, smiling. and he was a good presence for us in the dressing room, or for the media. I mean, maybe not for his teammates, but for the media. He was always good for us all the time.
So I guess speaking to, again, stuff that went on in the dressing room, and I know you don't always see what's going on behind closed doors, but how do you feel after Pierre Gru's book came out? Do you think that portrayed similarly to how you felt? I guess in that.
Yeah. The people were on the beat. I think basically we didn't learn anything in that book, so I was not surprised. I was surprised the way he told those stories, but it was not surprising at all.
Well, I mean I'm waiting for the English copy. I don't think I've read a full French book since grade 12, so I'm not.
There's supposed to be one soon, pretty soon.
Well, fingers crossed, because I would he's somebody I'd love to have on just for the fly on the wall experience of being in that Habs locker room and being privy to those conversations. And I mean, what an experience! I mean, it's a lot of work, obviously his job, but to be a fly on the wall in that dressing room and not have to do the mandatory workouts and make sure to be in shape. That's a pretty good backup plan.
But it's a tough job too, because let's say I'll go on the road with the team on Wednesday. The Habs will play Carolina on Thursday. So right after the game, they have to wrap up all the equipment. Then the team will fly to Toronto. So when they arrive in Toronto, they don't go to the hotel. So Patrick, the new guy in charge with his assistants, they will go directly to the arena. They're going to take the stuff. They're going to dry the stuff, prepare everything. So they will be at the hotel around, 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning. And then the day after, the practice at 11, they have to be there by 9 to get everything ready, sharpening the skates and everything. So that's a tough job, a really tough job. You have to be really dedicated to do something like that.
Yeah, I worked in a bit in pro baseball before moving back to town, and I remember the trainer, Chuck Dufton. That guy for the baseball team lived at the stadium, and I worked in the office, and just we'd get in 7:30, 8 in the morning, and leave at about 5, 6 o'clock on non-game days, and he's still there. And I'm like, what the hell is Chuck doing? And everything from ordering, he knew every player's favorite Gatorade. He knew how they liked their bat and what kind of tape and what kind of grip. And it was just the detail this guy had. It was, the job is super cool, and it would be cool to do, but the attention to detail is ridiculous.
And during a game, you have to watch Patrick Langlois. It's not only him, but so they put there for the player skating with the puck. A lot of guys they just put the finger on the stick. So 27, 44, and then they're ready for a broken stick anytime. They're really quick. They are really, really impressive.
And then some people always say, well, the equipment managers and stuff deserve a ring when the team wins. It's it's
of course.
All the stuff the players get the fame, the coaches, the GM, but they don't talk about the people that work at the arena, the people that again the equipment managers. Those guys are crazy. You've seen it time and time, like you said with the sticks. They grab a stick, put it on the ice,
and they become confident.
Yeah.
When the player arrives at the rink at 7 a.m., there's only the manager. He talks with him. How are you today? And then they start to talk. That's a really important job.
How do you train for that? How do you train for the sticks? You just they blindfold you and they just tell you where it is, and you gotta.
A lot of them have the numbers.
Well, I get that, but I mean, just to in the game to not have to look
a lot
but
of.
they're all by numbers. So
okay. That's fair.
Learn something
It's
new.
always interesting when I go to the bench for the warm-up interviews to watch the stick, and I always like that. And I don't have a good memory, but when my son, now he's 29, but he was like 10 or 12 years old, and not only because my son, I think all the young hockey players are like that. He was like, "Hey, Dad, why Jan Boulis changed his gloves?" Huh? Yeah, he had the CCM gloves. Now he switched to it. No idea. And why this guy changed his stick? First, I never asked because it's not my business, but a lot of people pay attention to that.
Yeah.
Not me, but especially the young hockey players, the teenagers, they are crazy. They know everything.
This guy last night points out Jalen Hurts in the Super
yeah.
Bowl changed cleats between the first and the second quarter,
I've been
and I was
watching-
just
yeah.
like, I wouldn't have known that unless you pointed that out, and I was just like, Jesus, Murphy.
When
like,
you've been watching so much football, you got to change it up every once in a while. You watch the linemen or whatnot, and the fact that you used Jan Boulis as an example just again talks about the guys that we had throughout the years. That I have a buddy of mine that's only been watching hockey for like about 6 years now. And he's a Habs fan, and I tell me and my brother will have conversations, and I'm like, Jan Boulis or
Bonk.
like, and my buddy's like, who are these guys? I'm like, man, these are the guys that the Habs had and we loved. Like those were fan favorites.
Yeah.
Like
Andre and Sergey
yeah,
Kostitsyn.
yeah, like it's crazy the years that Montreal had, like of players that showed up out of nowhere and just like were great for Montreal. Like, and it's not. I find not a lot of teams had that growing up, or I didn't notice it. But I don't know if Montreal, like, I don't know what they did, but their scouting was. I wouldn't say questionable, but
they scouted a lot of guys back then. Like if you look at Surrey, was a signing, I believe. I don't think they drafted him.
No, but I think he was involved in the trade. I don't remember.
I mean,
It's like,
Surrey.
I told you I don't have a good memory.
Somebody will say it in the comments if I'm wrong.
Someone will call us out on it. Yeah,
but I don't know. A lot of those guys. Radek Bonk was a trade from Ottawa.
Yep.
Kovalev was a trade from New York.
Yeah, those years.
QA came from LA.
Yep. David Abisher came from
Colorado.
Oh, and the list goes on.
Yeah, we can talk names the whole time.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Throughout the years? Who was one of your favorite interviews to do
With Montreal?
Yeah, like who you see, or any team really. It depends. But you with Montreal, so I will stick.
Honestly, I always like to talk with the goons.
Yeah.
I remember when I started on the beat, Todd Ewan was really, really good. But over the years, Gino Adjic was something. Gino Adjic always had a really good lighter. Georges Larac too. Piquet was really good, really good. Pacioretty was great too. For interviews, I mean. But the favorite one, just like a cool guy, I think I have to go honestly with Steve Bégin, Francis Bouillon.
Oh,
Okay.
nice.
Those two guys, they are so real. They played with their heart and they put everything on the table every shift. And maybe it's because I'm a French Canadian too. I was maybe closer to them because of that. But those two guys were my two favorites one, I believe, in the last 30 so years.
You speaking about Frankie Bouillon's character, and I mean he's part of the Habs development now. So,
like he's great.
He's bringing up the next generation,
and like.
And I have to say, Maxime Lapierre and Guillaume Latendresse.
Oh, yeah.
A generation later, those two guys, they were
again fan favorites.
Really good guys, two good persons, always funny. Now they have a really good career with La Poche Bleue and TVA Sports.
They have their own beer as well, I'm pretty sure.
Also called La Poche Bleue.
They called La Poche Bleue. Yeah, I tried it.
Well,
I can confirm. Confirm is really good.
Yeah. That's awesome. Actually, well, France, there was a Montreal alumni. They came to town 2 years ago. I think they were here. No, 2, 3. Yeah, I guess before COVID. So yeah. And then Francis Bouillon was playing. And like I know he was playing against guys from a small town, but like he was still flying out there. Like it's crazy to see those guys so late, like later in life, that can still just get out there and motor. Like I just get windburn on my stomach now when I play hockey because I just gained too much weight. Like thanks for not saying anything, buddy.
Well, I don't. What do you want me to say? I mean, you didn't
Nothing to
lie.
say.
Yeah, it's true. That's the truth.
Means we agree.
Yeah.
So, I mean, my favorite time of the year, and I'm sure it is an easier time for you when trade deadline starts to come up. There's always so many more stories to talk about. The Habs for I mean, at least since last year, you talk moving Edmondson, talk moving Hoffman, talk moving potentially Jake Allen,
Monahan.
David Savard, now Monahan. Do you feel or sense that something is imminent with any of those guys just from being around the locker room?
Yes, and that's the philosophy of the management too. They wants to build a young team, and the thing is, we always think about the team on the ice, but it's more than that. Look at the Avalanche. Last year, they thought they had a really good chance for the Stanley Cup, so they made a trade for Lekonen, but they gave up draft choice, and Justin Barron.
Yeah.
So when you have assets like Barron in your farm team, it's important because you can make those deals for good players for the present. So the way I see that is Kenny Hughes is preparing a good team on the ice, but preparing too a lot of good prospects to make trades in like 2-3 years for a good goalie, a quarterback at the blue line, or really good players and impact players before the trading deadline. So if they can trade veterans, but not all the guys, they need good veterans in the dressing room to be with the young kids. But if they can trade like Monahan, one of those two guys, I'm sure they're gonna do that. Like last year, I was really surprised. They make a trade for Toffoli. Toffoli was a good player, really respected, the big brother and the whole brother in the dressing room. But they had something interesting for him, and they did it, and nobody saw it coming at that time.
I was pretty blindsided about that. I was upset about that trade, but again, we don't know. Like you said,
I mean, Emil Heineman's a good return, and we got a first.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you can't be mad about that.
Is there anybody that you would say is a candidate for another? I don't want to say a blind side, but a trade that we wouldn't necessarily see involving this player?
Not really. No, because all the veterans, for me, all the veterans are not untouchable. Yeah. No, sorry.
So if you're Kent Hughes, do you have a pecking order of who you would prefer to ship out? Like if you're looking at Monahan versus Anderson, or Monahan versus Dvorak, or Dvorak versus Anderson, do you have a pecking order of I would rather keep this guy in this order? Like, first on the block is Monahan. If I'm trading a second one, it's going to be Dvorak. And I'm keeping Anderson for last unless something blows me out of the water.
And it's maybe it's more about who's calling and what they want to really interesting to have Monahan if he can come back healthy, or even Drouin. They won't pay a lot for Drouin, but if you have a chance to go maybe to the semi-final or final, who you think you have a shot for the cup, with the extra players, you prefer to have Drouin than a guy from the American Hockey League.
Very true.
Yeah.
So you can give nothing, a six rounder maybe for Drouin, and you have someone reliable if you need him. So I think depends on the call more than that. It's more at this stage, it's more about what the winning team, what they want, than what Montreal wants to offer.
Do you have, I mean, in your head, and again, I mean, I play fantasy GM all the time of where I think a good fit would be. Do you have a team in mind that would be a good fit or a good trade candidate team for the Habs?
Oh, honestly, I didn't think about it. No, I'm sorry. I didn't think
No,
about that.
don't apologize. I'm
No,
throwing and hoping some sticks.
Yeah.
you know, I do the day by day news, so I go with the flow. My job is not to talk about what might happen, what should happen. I go to the arena and what's going on today? What's the news today?
Mhm.
Perfect. And what's going on today and now maybe tomorrow. So I focus on that, and so that's why that's the reason why I didn't do that homeworks, I guess.
No, it's
Or maybe
all
just
good.
because
This
I'm
is-
lazy.
Honestly, the only reason I think like that is because I play fantasy hockey and be a GM on PlayStation, and that's not because there's any merit behind any of it, but I like to tinker and see. Well, this could work, or they have the cap, or we have the cap, or
No, yeah.
That's fair. I mean, this year too. Again, at the trade deadline coming up, Pierre-Luc Dubois is always they're always gonna say he's coming to Montreal because he's French Canadian. Again, with like being someone that's been around, like you said, back in the day, it was a lot more French Canadians because that's what Montreal was, right? If you were, they never really came out and said if you're a French Canadian, you can only play for Montreal. But again, like growing up, I remember there were so many more. Like with seeing what Montreal did to Drouin, do you think that Pierre-Luc Dubois would even want to come to Montreal?
I think so. But Pierre-Luc Dubois, I don't believe he's going to leave Winnipeg this season
Yeah,
because they have a really good team.
yeah,
So if you're Winnipeg, you keep him for the playoffs, and then you will see they have a chance maybe for the cup. They have everything they need at the blue line. A great goalie, good lines up front. So if you make a trade for Pierre-Luc Dubois, you better have something really, really, really good for him. I know they are not going to give him for free.
yeah. I don't know why every year at the deadline it always Montreal and Pierre-Luc Dubois. It's always in the same
Yeah.
sentence.
but you know
Yeah.
what? He's a free agent next year. Why
Yeah.
would you give up anything knowing in a year?
He might not even reach.
And it's not like we're up contenders either. Like
No, yeah,
we can afford to wait one more year, sign him in free agency, and not have to give up anything.
yeah,
And we might say like Winnipeg, maybe they're gonna lose him for free, but other teams they give players to have a free agent that they're gonna lose, like Florida with Ben Sherratt last year.
Mhm.
So if you have Dubois and you think you have a chance, even if you're going to lose him, it's there. Keep him to finish the season and have him for the playoffs.
When you go to the rink in the morning to start your day, who's the first one on the ice when you're there?
Last year the answer was easy. It was Romanov. This year depends. The goalies, always the goalies, because they work with Eric Raymond. The newcomers all the time.
Yeah,
because they feel they have to be there.
Yeah.
And by newcomers, does Alex Belzil at 31 feel like a newcomer?
Yes, that's what a great story. I was so happy for him yesterday, seriously.
Yeah.
And this guy, he played over than 500 games in the American Hockey League.
That's crazy.
Waited for that goal, and he had good chances since he was called up. So I was so happy for him. And sometimes you score a goal that hit you in the back. It was a really nice goal. So
beautiful shot.
It's really cool. But I'm really impressed by Harvey Pinard.
Oh yeah, love Raphael.
It's the way he played. He had a good chance. He played on the first line, and it's really amazing how Martin Saint Louis approach the kids. Like when Anthony Richard was called up, we were in Phoenix, but not Phoenix. Phoenix.
Yeah, I think it was the Phoenix-Dallas trip.
Yeah, it was Phoenix, and after the game, we asked him how it was, and said I felt so comfortable because the way the coach talked to me. So I asked him, you don't have to go in details, but what they tell you And he said, "Oh, Marty told me, don't play a game to please myself. You're not here to please myself. Play your game. Make mistakes, please. You're not here to play a perfect game. So play your game. If you make mistakes, I don't mind. If that's the same mistake all the time, we're gonna fix that. We're gonna talk about it, but don't try to just be nice to me." And he told me that was his biggest problem when he came from the AHL. At that time, like 20 years ago, Marty played to please the coach, so it was not really himself. So I think that's one of the reasons why all those kids are playing so well.
Mhm.
The way they are treated by the head coach, and I never saw something like that before.
Ever like, there's no coaching comparable to Martin St. Louis.
Not with the kids, not with the kids.
Do you think it has something to do with him? Like when he was kind of coming up, everyone thought he was too small. Then he, played his heart out. Do you think it had something to do with like the way his career went through?
Yeah, maybe, and it's not only with the kids, with everybody. The way he behaves with the players, and as he told us when he arrived, he's been in all the situations. A couple of years ago, he was that guy who arrived from the American Hockey League, never been drafted. Offensive players on the fourth line, a couple of minutes. Then he became a really good player, a regular player, then a superstar, then a whole guy who tried to survive for his job. He did everything.
Yeah.
So he can talk with Caulfield, and Caulfield will listen to him because he was a heck of a goal scorer. He can talk with Suzuki, he can talk with everybody because he was involved in all those situations. And that's pretty unique, I think.
Yeah, I mean, you don't see very often. Like, I mean, a lot of coaches, and like we talked about this, like literally in maybe like October, but you don't see many coaches in the NHL. Like, you'll see a lot of guys that have played the game, but not many guys that have had big, long, great careers. I mean, yeah, I can't remember a coach since Wayne Gretzky with Phoenix. I mean, maybe Tocchet in Vancouver, but I mean, he wasn't as good of a player in my opinion as Martin St. Louis. You don't see that.
No.
And you don't see somebody. I mean, you look at Gretzky, he didn't have the same issues that Martin St. Louis coming up. I mean, he was a unicorn in every league he played in.
Yeah.
So Martin, like you said, Luke, has so many attributes to offer every single player throughout that lineup in every different role.
And we don't talk often about Alex Burrows and Stéphane Robida, but they are in the same path.
I love the coaching staff this year. I think it's great.
Yeah.
And it's great for the guys, especially with the injuries like Montreal's got this year. And like you said, Belzile coming up and playing as good as he is. Same thing with Harvey Pinard. Nobody expected these guys to do what they're doing. And again, like Pinard's playing with Suzuki and Anderson on the first line. And he's playing great. Like the guy's got in 13 games, got 8 goals or something.
And Yelanen had a shot with Caulfield and Suzuki too on the first line on the right wing. So those kids, they get some really good opportunities.
Yeah, and you know what? I can't remember. And like you mentioned earlier, the coaches of Tenier and Julien and Martin. Whenever you were calling up guys, they never had that opportunity to play top 6 minutes when you were calling up one of the kids from the AHL.
That may be this year is because they don't have the choice to.
Well, that's true.
Yeah,
that's true.
For sure.
There are not too many weapons up front.
I seen a great tweet today, and I don't know if you followed any of the Expos baseball, Luc.
No.
But they're like, we haven't seen an RPH this good since Pedro Martinez.
Yeah.
I mean, they're referring to right-handed pitchers for all the non-baseball people, but Raphael Harvey Pinard. I mean,
it's a great name too. Okay,
it is.
I love that.
It's like 7-1, something like that.
You know what though? He reminds me of a Gallagher coming up.
Yeah, that's the name comes up quite often. Yeah.
Hopefully he doesn't.
I mean,
take as
he
many
turned out to be
yeah.
pretty good,
Yeah,
so
he's-
that's
yeah.
okay. I'll take another one of them. They
Oh,
don't
yeah.
last too long with how hard they are on their bodies, but I'll take them while they're good.
I mean, he doesn't have Shea Weber taking slap shots from the
Yeah,
point,
I-
so you know what I mean. Like,
Um, we'll venture off from the Habs a bit, and we'll just talk some of the big hockey stuff that's went on in the last week. How do you think the Arizona Coyotes are handling the Jacob Chikrin situation, scratching him until he's traded? We've seen this kind of carousel with the Coyotes before, where close to trading him, trade is imminent, then nothing happens, and he's with the Coyotes for another almost full year.
Yeah.
So, how do you think about the approach now of them scratching Jake?
Yeah. Yeah, that's quite strange, but if they're sure they want to move him, but might be long, huh? March
Yeah.
the 3rd, the trading deadline. So
Yeah, another
it's really,
couple weeks.
really, really surprising to me. So I don't think that's the way to do it. Not like a month before.
Well, yeah, and I mean, there was times, I remember in the past guys scratching guys, but it was like, a couple days or maybe a game or two before just to ensure. But this far out, like, I hope they're trading them sooner rather than later.
Yeah,
for this guy's
exactly.
sake.
If they do that, I guess because there are good discussions, something serious is going on. They don't do that just precautionary. I'm sure it's because something's on the block. Because if it's just maybe something will happen, it's not logical to give keep a guy a month out of the lineup
Do you
just
think
in case.
some of the logic in maybe sitting out a really good player this early is the Connor Bedard effect?
Oh, I hope not. I hope not.
Either. It would make the league
Yeah.
so bad, especially like you said, if it's different if he gets traded tomorrow or the next day or whatever. But like to sit him for a whole month, I mean, at that point it doesn't help. It doesn't help the Coyote. Like it doesn't help Arizona.
I'm just playing devil's
no,
advocate.
for sure. No,
I
for
mean,
sure. No, for sure. But like,
And you're not guaranteed to have the first choice. So
yeah.
But I mean, Adam Fantilli's a good consolation prize.
Yeah.
I would gladly take Adam Fantilli.
I hope he drops to us. That'd be great.
And I guess again sticking with kind of the trade fronts, Tarasenko moving to
New York.
Rangers. What did you think on the return there?
It's perfect because the Rangers was one of the team I really liked last year for the Stanley Cup.
Yeah.
So now with Tarasenko, when you have a chance, you do whatever you need to go.
And I
to
feel
the
like
end.
the price they paid isn't very high. Like Sammy Blais, who was playing on their third line.
Yeah.
I mean, given he had 0 goals with the Rangers during the time he was with the Rangers.
And he played a couple of games on the.
Goes back
he
to
played
St.
a couple
Louis
of games on the
played.
first line too, huh?
Yeah, he scored
earlier this season. Yeah.
So, he's already looking better in St. Louis than he did with the Rangers. But so you trade a third line guy, you give up a first, but you have 2 firsts, so you're giving up the later of those 2.
Yeah.
So you're still getting the better deal in that. And I get it's a deep draft, but still, Dallas and the Rangers are both going to perform well. They're both going to be playoff teams, and you still get the lower pick.
And Tarasenko is a really good player too.
Well, exactly. In exchange, you get Vladimir Tarasenko. Like, I think St. Louis could have asked for more, in my opinion.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, maybe you're right.
I think so.
Maybe so. Yeah.
That's what we have to have this guy on more. There's
No,
not too many
they
people
were-
that
they
say
were-
you are right.
They were the first to move on. So maybe the Blackhawks will have more now. Or maybe the market changed because of Tarasenko. So
And I mean, and like he's on the first line too. He played with Panarin and Zibanejad his first game, and like look how great that line played. Like, to me now the Rangers are just even more scary than they were before with Tarasenko. Now
I really like the Rangers. I really like them.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They're
I think
well
them
balanced,
and Carolina.
well coached.
No, I think so
too. I guess the only other recent news in the last week since the last time we were on would have been Anton Forsberg's freak double MCL sprain.
Yeah, 2 knees, yeah,
Yeah.
both sides.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever seen that
Both.
like intense of an injury.
Like,
Yeah, and it's 2 knees, huh? 1 knee, it's always tough. I don't think I saw that before too. So the Senators are not lucky this year, honestly. Really tough season for them too, injury wise. Just too bad because I thought they had a chance to battle for a playoff spot.
Oh, 100%. And they were turning it on.
That's a big disappointment, but
since
they were
Christmas
not lucky
break,
too.
they played very well.
Yeah.
But you know what?
I-
If you can think back, like, and I'm saying like years and years, they have had terrible luck with goaltending.
Yeah.
Like you look back, like
yeah.
Martin Gerber injured, Ray Emery injured.
Yeah.
Then you had, you know, the next level. Craig Anderson was probably the healthiest goaltender they had at that time. He had injuries. I remember at one point, I believe he had like a freak cut his hand with a kitchen knife injury. You know, and then they now had Matt Murray, and he was injured whenever somebody sneezed in his direction. You know, and then you had Cam Talbot now has been injured. Anton Forsberg. Like it just seems like they can't keep a healthy goaltender no matter who it is.
Yeah.
But 2 knees.
That's awful.
I hope he'll be okay for the rest of his career.
Yeah, that was a scary.
You know what?
Yeah.
I seen right before us coming on, his projected timetable is 2 to 3 months before returning, which to me is surprising. Whenever you have 2, and that's barring rehab and no setbacks. But I mean, I was expecting like, hey, we'll see you,
Next year.
October, November.
Yeah.
But I mean, definitely, hopefully, that means it's not as bad as it looked or sounds.
Yeah, because it didn't look good. Immediately, he grabbed his leg immediately. Like he knew right away something was not good.
Yeah. I mean, scary times for the Sens, but I mean, it kind of sucks, and again, it plays into. Does new ownership fire Pierre Dorian and DJ Smith? Because I mean, this team was supposed to make a push for the playoffs. But
yeah, but I think Pierre
Dorion,
they both did a good job with what they had. Dorion made a lot of good trades, a lot of good singing too.
But do you think?
We'll see with the new ownership. But I think they did a really good job.
But do you think like Pierre Dorian's offseason moves, like he got an A+ in the offseason?
Yeah.
Do you think that they've done enough to entice the likes of Alex DeBrincat to re-sign?
I don't know.
Like to me, that's a big part of where this team's going. Like, I like Matthew Joseph, but he's not Alex DeBrincat.
No, of course.
I think that's a threat where if they are, moving up towards that playoff spot, they need Alex DeBrincat.
Yeah, they need him. Yeah, it's
or
a 40 goal.
As
40 goal
Denis
scorer.
Lemieux said earlier in the show, trade him right fucking now.
Yeah, that's the way to look at it.
Yeah, because I mean, you want to get something back for that player.
Yeah, of course.
If he's not re-signing, like that turns Pierre Dorian's A into like a C- because you gave up a lot for him.
Yeah.
But I think he knew that getting DeBrincat, he knew there was a chance that he might not resign after the 1 year. That's the thing, right?
But I think everybody anticipated the Sens to be a lot better than what they put out.
Yeah. I said at the start of the year, even being a Habs fan, I said the Sens look great on paper, but that team's got to show on ice that they can prove it. And immediately, Cam Talbot was in and out of the lineup with injury, and again back.
That was a tough loss.
Yeah, Josh Norris, you lose your first line center for most of the season.
Comes back and then gets hurt again. And again, did he come back too early?
Well, 100%. He went to 4 or 5 different doctors before one told him, "Yeah, you could play on it," and then comes back for like 2 games.
Yeah,
no, that's coming too early. That's a question we ask all the time with Montreal.
Yeah,
because last year, Carey Price came back to training, then left back home. Edmondson, same thing. Earlier this season, Madison, day-to-day. Then he missed like 2 months. Savard and Gallagher, who were on the Western trip in Vancouver, Seattle, were day-to-day. Then, first thing you know, they miss a month each. And then Gallagher came back for three games, re-injured, the same thing. And now he's not playing anymore. It's And we had Edmondson. End of January, he had a lower body injury. The day after, it was upper body injury. Monahan came back to practice by himself, a couple of practice with the team, and then skip a day, skip a day, skip a day, skip a day. We don't know what's going on with him. There's a lot of questions with
Well,
the
and I
medic.
remember they like right before the All-Star break, they're all like, there'll be some updates next week, and then
Nothing.
we haven't heard anything.
Yeah.
And it's
And we ask, that we ask every morning, every evening, we ask all the time. When it's not me, it's someone else. Hey, what about Monahan? What about Edmondson? And the answer we get, I don't know. I didn't see the doctor today. Okay.
but
The day after,
this,
what about Monahan today? I didn't have a chance to talk with the doctor.
do you think that's
And
a
you have
scapegoat answer?
Sorry?
Is that a scapegoat answer?
Excuse me. Is that the what?
A scapegoat answer? Like, is that a bullshit answer?
Yeah, it's coming from the medical staff.
Yeah.
They don't want to tell. And you look at the Leafs. Austin Matthews is one of the best players on earth. There's no Austin Matthews in Montreal.
Yeah.
We like Caulfield, we like Suzuki, but there's not far. They're not close to Austin Matthews. I mean, sorry. And the Leafs, they said the injury out 3 weeks. And that's the biggest market in the league.
Yeah.
And I don't want to do a big story about that because the fans, when we complain, most of them, they just don't care. We don't want to know if it's ankle or knee. We just want to know when the player will come back. So stop asking those questions and stop about complaining about upper or lower injury or lower or upper body. But it's my point is more than that. Are they good or are they not good?
Yeah.
If Gallagher and Savard are with the team on the road, a day-to-day evaluation, not a big important injury, and then they miss a month. And if Edmondson miss a month and come back and miss a month, and Gallagher come back for 3 games and re-injure the same spot, that's my point. That's what I'm talking about. Are they good? Are they doing their job correctly? And that's tough for Kent Hughes because when you're not a doctor yourself or a therapist yourself, how can you challenge them and how can you make sure that they're doing or not doing their job? It's something different. It's really tough, I believe, to evaluate.
And I mean, I feel like you're asking the right questions, and I feel like I disagree with whoever's giving you shit about the upper and lower body. I feel like I always appreciate the transparency whenever teams, whether it's in hockey or baseball or soccer, whatever, just come out and say, "Listen, this is what it is."
Or there's no transparency anymore this year. It's worse than it was last year and 2 years ago and 3 years ago. That's the worst I ever saw. The transparency about injury. Injury.
Yeah.
Do you think that comes from direction from management or Chantal Machabe, or is this like a solely like the doctors and physio? Like,
I think it's a doctor and physio because we had argument with Chantal and she feel really bad about that because she understand her job and she told us, I cannot tell you guys I'm really sorry. I cannot tell you guys I'm really sorry. So I feel really bad for her because I'm sure she wants to share the information, but she cannot do it. That's not the person that I point out. It's not Chantal. And every year you look, the Habs are so unlucky this year with the injuries. And we said the same thing last year. Said the same thing 2 years ago.
yeah,
Why is Montreal always one of the team with the most missed game by players all the time?
And like
maybe just bad luck. I don't know.
Do you think like there's a reason behind they don't want to tell? Like I know I'm kind of looking for an answer, but like why wouldn't they just be honest? Like why does it matter? Like to you, like as a reporter, like wouldn't you want to be like, yeah, tell us the truth? Like, if he's out for 4 months, tell us he's out for 4 months. Not he's week to week. Well, week to week can last again the 4 months. Just be like, he hurt his knee. We're gonna give you guys a 2-month window where we don't know if he's gonna be here for 2 months, and then he might come back in a week, and then he might come back at the end of the 2 months. Like, why give you guys again bullshit answers?
You know what? Maybe it's because they don't know themselves. Because maybe they're not good.
All right.
You know what though, and
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
agree with what you're saying, because there's something with unlucky.
Yeah.
But there's only unlucky for a certain amount of time before it's a pattern.
Yeah. It's been.
I mean,
We have a
that's like
pattern
an
here.
alcoholic saying, "I'm so good at quitting, I've done it 5 times."
Yeah.
Well, I mean, at some point,
There's a problem. Yeah.
there's a pattern here. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know. To me, it's like you said, you got to start looking at the doctor, physio, and I mean, again, if we were in a cup run season, I think or even a playoff contender, I'd
Yeah.
say Messiah, but
Yeah.
like right now, I don't really give a shit. I mean, because I
Yeah.
just want the best pick possible, but I don't know.
Yeah.
I agree with you, and that's something I've thought myself, where it's just like, how does this happen every year, and how is it always a question mark?
Yeah.
Of like, hey, this guy's been gone for like 6 weeks.
Yeah.
What's happened to this guy?
Yeah,
But we don't have the answer.
Too many gray hairs talking about that.
come on, man.
So I guess, I mean, we won't take any more of your time. We'll get into our last segment. Luke, Adam always prepares 3 questions, and we call this yay or nay, and you're pretty much given a thumbs up or a thumbs down and why to his
Yes.
questions. I haven't seen them, so we're in the same boat.
All right. So
Fire away.
the first one, I've recently in the last few years, I find reffing has gotten pretty bad. I shouldn't say bad again, fast-paced game, but should these refs start being accountable for inaccurate calls on the ice? Like, I mean, like, like a coach will say something about a ref after the game and they get fined. Well, like,
So you're pretty much saying that it should be okay to openly criticize a referee if they're doing a bad job.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. To an extent.
Wow.
You want me to go first? I have my answer prepped.
No, but I can give you an answer. I will say yes, maybe you can, but not right after the game because you're too emotional and you can say it's tough because it's fast. We saw the Super Bowl yesterday. We look at the replays. So oh my God, it's easy, but make the call. But
Yeah.
honestly, I think that the refereeing is overall it's not that bad when you look at all the games, all the play involved, all the plays involved. I think it's okay like it is now. So it's a thumbs up.
I think it's good the way it is now. I'm just because the NHL, and I said this about the All-Star game, will never admit when they're wrong or when something needs fixing.
Yeah.
So to admit the referees are employees of the NHL, they are they are part of the rules. They're in charge of enforcing the NHL's rules. They will never admit that there is an issue, and they're never going to let a player or a coach openly bash them. So
they're going to protect their workers, right?
Yeah.
It is.
And they try to help them too. Now they have the coach challenge, they have replays. I think there's a good improvement over the years.
Do you think it's like the fact that they ref so many different types of teams? Because not all teams have the same gameplay, right? So like, do you think like they have one way they call a slashing penalty and they're going to call it no matter what the team plays?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, and it's so fast. Sometimes on the road from the press box is slow, and you can see the play develop. I really like to go when there's like 10 minutes to go, especially like Jersey or Florida. I go down in the stands close to the action. It's so fast. It's so fast. So, and they're big and strong and they skate fast. The action is like that on the ice. So it's really tough, honestly.
That's fair.
All right. What's the next one?
Second one. This has to do with the Tarasenko trade. Are super teams the future of the NHL?
super team for a lot of years. I mean, like the
Well, like as in like how like in the NBA, like I know there's no salary cap, but teams like they'll pick up like like LeBron, Westbrook, and Anthony Davis were all on the same team. Like with these trades happening, a lot of teams are retaining salary cap. So that was a big reason why the Rangers could get Tarasenko.
Yeah.
So like if this is going to happen, is there going to be teams that are like now? Let's say at the deadline, the Rangers are like, well, if we're making a push, let's take Kane, and then Chicago keeps 50% of his cap. You know what I mean? Like I'm just
Yeah, I get
you know
what
what
you're
I
saying.
mean?
I get what you're saying.
With all these like they're working around the league rules to make these teams.
like Tampa did.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. There you go. Perfect example.
The Kucherov rule.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the David Savard, they made
Yeah.
a trade with 3 teams to get David Savard when they won
Yeah.
the cup the last time.
Do you want to go first?
No, go first. I'll think.
Okay, I'm
I
gonna
think
I'm gonna give a thumbs down. And again, we're going today as the rule, as the NHL has it with the hard cap. You're always gonna have bottom dweller teams that can retain salary, and you're always gonna have cup contending teams, unless they get rid of the cap or there's some kind of weird rule. It's always gonna be you can only afford so many guys. I think the scary thing for what teams is going to be players that are demanding the money that they are, with the salary cap going up as little as it does.
Yeah.
Like the amount of guys that are asking 7, 8, 9, 10 million now is ridiculous.
Insane. Yeah.
Ridiculous.
now they give that money for kids, to kids.
Well, exactly.
22, 23 years old
where
guys.
it's handed out a little too easily, I think. So I think that's going to bite a lot of teams in the butt. So I guess we'll see. But as of right now, I don't think it's even possible. If like obviously a team would want if you can have McDavid, Draisaitl, McKinnon, Makar, Shesterkin on your team. Of course, you're taking all of them if you can.
Yeah.
But I don't think the way the rules are written now, it's even possible.
I think you can do it, but not with only superstars. You can do it like Justin Brisebois managed it with the Tampa Bay Lightning, adding some players, making some trades like Hagel and signing Corey Perry. I think that's the only way to survive for long term and be good for a lot of years in a row.
All right, last one.
The last one's kind of stupid, but I'm going to throw it out there anyways because it's hard to find these questions too. But I had two in this. I'll do this one and then I'll say the second one after because that one's pretty insane. With how fast the game is becoming, do you think the NHL would ever talk about making the rink Olympic sized?
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, that would require taking out seats and taking money out of owners' pockets. I think that's shut down real quick.
And then if you do that, you have to adjust the Canadian Hockey League, the NCAA, everything.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what my take was. But again, that's what I'm here to ask.
So I think that's both thumbs down.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
The other one was illegal curves.
Illegal curves.
Yeah.
I mean, I always enjoyed a nice Paul Coffey curve, and it was like a C.
Yeah.
I
mean, I use Ovechkin's curve when I play hockey, and that thing is just a boomerang. I don't understand.
Yeah.
I miss the net all the time, so I don't know how he hits the net.
I mean, I'm gonna go against it.
Yeah, I usually try and get 4 questions and pick the 3, and then leave the next one for next week. But
that's okay. Well, Luke, I had a blast. I mean, it was, again, like I was telling James a few weeks ago, just an honor and a dream, I guess, come true, without sounding dramatic, to sit down and talk with you, somebody that I've looked up to for most of my life, in the sports world. So it means a lot that you came on, and we really appreciate it.
Again, thanks for the invitation. Sorry for my English. It was a little bit rusty because I was on vacation for like 10 days too. So
Well, yeah,
We didn't,
I followed you into the Hawaii trip. It looked good. You got a tattoo.
yeah, it was a blast, and I like the winter too. So I like skiing. I like walking outside during the winter, having a fire in the backyard. But it's cool when you have a chance to go on the beach. So thank you very much, Gary Bettman, for that nice schedule this year.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's
awesome.
not too many people say thanks to Gary Bettman,
Yeah.
so that one means a lot to him, Luke.
That's good.
Well, thanks for coming on again. We hope you'll come back on in the future.
Why not? Thank you. Good luck with your podcast, guys. It was
Thank
a
you
lot
very
of fun.
much. We'll talk to you again soon.
All right. Thanks.
Thank
Take
you.
care.
Bye.
Both guys, 5 minutes each for fighting!
Like you said earlier, like all these buddies of yours that you had to fight, like how do you go and like, hey, you know, like today you told me you went for lunch, or was it yesterday with Danick Lassard?
Yeah, today, yeah.
And then, you know, you've had to fight him a handful of times in your career. Like, how
You
do
wanna
you
know
go and
one
just
thing?
be like, you know, we're buddies, I'm gonna punch you in the face now.
Worse than that, I used to travel with Danick. He used to play for Jonquière, and I would play for Saint Georges, or I would play for Pont Rouge. We would travel together, and we knew we were going to fight twice that night. And you look at the tape, and we fought, and it wasn't staged. It wasn't, let's make it look good. We were smacking each other pretty good for 2 fights. So that was it. Because most of the guys that did it in those days, they knew their role. Okay. They knew exactly what they had to do. You get paid so much per game. If you don't do the job, you'll get a job. You'll get traded, and anybody will take it because they used to hire anybody. But if you want a steady job on a team, on a good team, you're going to show up. You're going to fight 30, 40, 50, 60, 70 times a season. You're going to get well paid. And that's it. So guys and we used to fight everybody. So you would play Laval, Saint Georges. In the Montreal area, like Laval, Sorel, Ville-la-Salle, Verdun, or Saint Laurent, and those teams back in the North American League. Mm-hmm. And we would go to the bar after the games, and we would see all those guys. So often, a lot of the times, those were your best friends, or the mutual respect was from those guys. And we'd go to the rink, start a brawl, first shift, do what you got to do. But those were the guys that we would connect the most with, the tough guys. The whole league was like that. So when we got to Cornwall, and then we're playing Mike Bro from Pont Rouge, I think they quit in November. They pulled the chute. They left. But all the other guys were all the guys from Saint Jean, like Jimmy Burns, Jamie Linos, name it. All those guys, Corey Holland, Martin Larivière, any of those guys you'd played before, you'd fought them X amount of time. So yeah, those days you did the job, or you weren't part of a good team, or you didn't have a full-time job. So then you end up going to play senior AA or senior whatever, or Bush League. But the money was all right, and the guys knew what they had to do. So yeah, it wasn't uncommon to be friends with a guy and having to go toe to toe with him. There was a lot of that, because if you had choose, I remember junior guys going, I can't fight this guy because we went to school, we did biology. I can't fight this guy because mom says she knew his sister from. Yeah. Well, you want to know one thing? Change de job, mon homme, parce que tu pogneras pas souvent cette année. Fait que fais tes devoirs, va voir ta mère, va manger ta dinde à Noël, puis demain, tu vas y taper sa gueule, ça marche de même, sinon tu décalisses la caniche. C'est ça. These guys, when I'd hear that, because I would hear that, and that would piss me off. You ask Joel Thériault in warm-ups when he'd see two tough guys talking to each other. Hey, comment ça va, ouais, t'as-tu gagné au PlayStation, toi? Ouais, c'est cool, hein? Hey, ferme ta calice de gueule, décalisse de là. Tu vas te pogner comme un homme dans 5 minutes. T'as besoin d'être prête, mon tabarnak.
Joel, what he's saying in French is,
Oh, I know exactly what he's saying.
I know your listeners. What
Oh
he
yeah, sorry.
is what Biz Nasty says on Spit and Chicklets, playing tummy sticks. Joel Terrio, Paul Shantz, LP Charbonneau, Matt Rabby, they don't play tummy sticks. They don't play tummy sticks before the game. Hey, you're in for a grind tonight, and you're going to see 67 all night until you drop your gloves, and you're going to face them. And that's the way that league is. And if you don't want to do it, no problem, but you're not getting paid. That's it. That's the way those guys played. It's for keeps. It's not for fun. Like, that's just, I wasn't like that. I was there to play hockey. But if one of my teammates is in trouble, hey, fuck, it's time to go. Like, that's enough. I had to fight LaRiviere in the playoffs. He had run me a couple times right near the bench. I was like, fuck, I've had enough of this fucking guy. I know he's way tougher than I am. Throw a couple punches, fall down to the ground. Okay, great. The next year, who's in my dressing room in Rivière-du-Loup? Martin LaRiviere. And the way you get past it is after the game, he didn't say anything before the game. He didn't say anything after the game. We get to the bar after the game. He comes over, slides me over a drink. He goes, "We good?" I go, "Marty, we're good." That's it. It was the best. Like, I hated Saint Jean. I absolutely hated Saint Jean. And I hated Martin LaRiviere. But once they're on your team, you get to know them. It is what it is. And
Hey, hey, Joel, just one thing, Joel. Like, as much as we were tough, and then you go to the finals, and then we had, like Corey says, he wouldn't fight every game, but we knew him, Ben Deschamps, even like Pat Duras, those guys were ready to go to war, even if it wasn't their role. And obviously he didn't want to fight Martin Larivière maybe that night, or maybe some other guy that he fought, but you knew that those guys were ready to go all the time. And that's what makes the championship team. So that made a difference. You can have like 5 or 6 really tough guys. I guarantee you Saint Jean, that team that we played, they had tough guys. Maybe not as tough as us, like at the end when they lost. I think Steve Bossy wasn't there in the finals, but if you look at the whole team, they had a few rats. That would pull the chute. So that's probably what made the difference between us and Saint Jean. All around our team toughness. When you talk about team toughness, that was us. When you had guys like Corey, Ben, you can name other guys as well that got involved. That does make a big difference for sure.